Hey guys, I'm Priest, and this is the first episode of a show called, that I don't know if I'm going to make it into an actual series or not, Abusing the Meta. Today we are looking at a ZvZ build that abuses the current meta. Now what this web series will be doing is, if it turns into one, is builds that I've made or used, or really that I've just seen, that abuse the current meta on ladder. Now I can only assume that the meta is similar in every league. This is the meta that I've seen in Masters League. So let's jump right into it. This is a build that opens +1 Carapace on your lings and then transitions really well into what they're doing. Now this build is very dependent on scouting, but other than that it's really easy to pull off. Okay, so let's speed this up. I'm going to be opening pool first. This build is really good with pool first, because you're going to want your gas really quickly. Now I open up 14 pool in this game because I suspected that he was going to be doing some sort of cheese, but he didn't, so it works out fine. Typically I just open 15 pool, 16 hatch, however it's not a huge deal. Okay, so first I'm going to be spending my first 100 gas on speed, and then my next 150 gas on +1 Carapace. Now you're going to want to drop your Evo chamber at about 75 mineral or 75 gas. I do it a little bit late, but that's not a huge deal, and that will make sure that you get your Carapace out right when you get 150 gas. Now I go up here and I see that he has a lot of queens, so I back off and I just play standard. Now you're going to get your +1 Carapace, and then right afterwards you want to get a spine just in case he does any sort of ling all-ins. It's going to make you very safe until your Carapace is out. And then afterwards you're going to want to play as if you were playing rushing mutas. So you're going to want to go double gas at your natural, followed by lair as soon as you have your next 100 gas. Now I'll wait a little bit just because I want to see what he's doing. And he's going, I see that he's going double Evo chamber at the front, and he doesn't have a lair yet, so he's not going any sort of muta rushes. What he's typically going to be doing is roach econ build. There's the roach horn right there. I don't know why he killed his queen. I think that was just a mistake. Now this build is, you get your upgrades on your roaches that he's doing, and then you go for a push followed by taking your third. Now what I'm going to be doing is, after my lair's done, I'm going to drop a spire, and this is where the build fluctuates. Now I saw that he had +1 or 2 evos, so I dropped an evo, or a second evo of myself, for myself, and a roach horn. If you don't see this, you don't want to drop those. You're just going to play standard because he's probably going to be going spire, but you want to scout. So I scouted the lair timing. I didn't see lair, so, and I saw the 2 evos, so I dropped another evo and a roach horn. And you're going to be starting your upgrades for your roaches. You're going to continue this. You drop a spire because you're going to want to get out about 6 to 8 Mutalists just to harass with your +1 Carapace lings. Now if he were to say, we're going to talk about if you were going spire first because he's not in this game. If he were to say go spire, your spire is going to be a little bit later because you went +1 Carapace instead of dedicating all your gas to lair first. And you're going to need to play defensive, drop a third, and try to deny his third as long as possible. And if it works successfully, which really it's not that hard to do, you're just going to sit back and play really defensive, make sure he doesn't do any damage, get up your 5th and 6th gas immediately, and you're eventually going to have more or Mutalisk than he has, because you have your 5th and 6th gas, and he's either doesn't have them yet or is just starting to get them up because you denied his 3rd for so long. Now I see that he's going these, so I make my mutas and I start my upgrades, because he's inevitably going to see my Mutalisk and want to push out with his roaches, because he doesn't have any sort of defensive units against mutas, so he's going to need to do damage. And his 3rd is enough. So you see here that he starts to push out. Now I have my lings and they're +1 Carapace, so I'm going to want to try to like deke him out and make him play defensive for as long as possible and deny his 3rd. This is perfect time, like perfect amount of time for me, and I'm going to want to start making roaches at home, which I'm doing right now, because when he pushes out with his roaches, I'm going to have roaches at home plus my spine crawler and my mutas and lings, and when he moves out across the map, I'm going to be targeting his roaches with my mutas, and as soon as he gets to my natural or my 3rd, depending on what he wants to go for, I have roaches and I have lings with an upgrade. So he starts to move out here. I'm just attacking them with my roaches. I deny his 3rd for a little bit longer, which is not really that necessary. I probably could have kept my lings at home. And then he gets here, he sees that I have a spine and roaches with upgrades, and my upgrades are better than his because I started them right away, and he's just going to GG out. Games typically look like this. There are times when they started their roaches a little bit earlier and they might snipe your 3rd. However, your upgrade should be better or on par, and you have the Mutalisk to do damage, so you can target down the 3rd or go in and do some harassment. Now he laid down a lot of spores because he was really afraid that I was just gonna go in and attack him, but I didn't, and it worked out in my favor. I win most of my ZvZs with this build, and even when they go rush mutas, all I do is just play defensive with a couple spores, and I'm fine. The only thing that this build will lose to is early Bane, Ling Bane attacks, and that's why you have to do constant scouting, because if you see that he's getting a Bane nest early, and you see that he's not, or he doesn't have a lot of drones at his natural, you're gonna need to throw up a Bane nest and maybe an extra spine, and then play defensive. But you will have your +1 Carapace lings, so you should hold it off. You just need to do constant scouting. And yeah, that's it. It's pretty easy to pull off and wins a lot of games in this meta. A lot of players, more than you'd think, go just roach econ because they see a lot of pros doing it. And if there are some times that they won't GG out, and they will go, I play players that manage to get the 3rd down and then they go into Hydraless because they're worried about your mutas, but they're going to be going heavy Hydra, so all you do is just max on roaches and just attack into their army, and they won't have enough roaches to block their Hydras. You're going to kill all your Hydras with your roaches, and you win the game from there. Yeah, that's the build. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube if that's what you're into, and onto my stream, and I appreciate it. I'll hopefully be putting out another build, possibly on ZvZ, because I'm working on one right now, later this week or next week. Thanks for watching, and see ya.